How's it going, everybody? Greg and Mira here from Hardest Reset, and we're going to be talking all about Critical Role's latest series, Exandria Unlimited. Usually these kind of things, these little spoiler casts would be things that are like at the end of a podcast and stuff like that, but we're going to try something a little new. Just do like our shorter kind of like 20, 30-ish minute. Of course, editing Greg, later on will be like, yeah, you did good on your estimate, or fuck you for that estimate. But, just do a quick little spoiler chat about Exandria Unlimited, the latest series from Critical Role. Like I said, I'm Greg, that's Mira. And yeah, there it is. Hell yeah. So, obviously, because this is a spoiler conversation, if you have not watched any of Exandria Unlimited, click off the video, go check it out. You can watch it. All 8 episodes are on the Critical Role
It's only
channel.
8 episodes.
It's only 8 episodes. It's only fuckloads of hours. It's only Critical Role. Listen,
This is like literally maybe a 16th of any of the campaigns. And that's just being generous.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because I can't math.
I don't know what math is. And yet we all are D&D nerds and play D&D and have the homebrewers.
Those are simple numbers.
Simple numbers, that's
true.
true.
Addition. Once it gets into like percentages and fractions, fuck me.
Percentages and fractions, that's so fair. That's so fair. Anyway, what I'm
Past
saying,
long division, I'm fucked.
That's fair. I mean, long division sucks as well. I fucking hate long division.
I can do that on paper though. I can't do percentages
and
fractions.
Simple division, yeah. But anyway, so math tangent aside, the math if you nope. Anyway,
editing Greg, cut that out.
No, I'm keeping that in. Keep all of this in, editing Greg.
Oh,
anyway,
no. What have we done?
So, if you haven't watched Exandria Unlimited already, please go check it out. It's the newest series from Critical Role, as we've said like 3 or 4 times. But we're gonna dive immediately into the spoilers, starting right now. This is the spoiler discussion of season 1 of Exandria Unlimited. I'm putting that behind spoilers because they did advertise it as the new mini-series.
To be fair, they only said season at the very end.
Right, yeah, that's why I'm saying that, like, I'm putting season 1 discussion in, like, past us saying, hey, we're going into spoilers. Yeah. I'm going to say also right out the gate, this being a season 1 has mitigated a lot of the complaints that I had about Exandria Unlimited. I'm going to kind of just, because I want to get into like the fun stuff and happy stuff, I will actually start just kind of get any critiques and criticisms out of the way. Did you have any critiques and criticisms of Exandria Unlimited?
I mean, it's not critique for the show. It's just the fact that my memory is shit sometimes.
Right.
So there's a lot of the story parts that I'm just like, wait, that happened?
Right.
But that's like nothing with the show. It's more just like, hey, my brain is stupid.
I mean, your brain is not stupid. I don't want you to think that your brain is stupid, because it's not. It is not stupid in the least. You may think it is, but your brain is wrong. You are not stupid.
I mean, clinical depression. Yes, there is a little bit of hindrance.
I get it. There is a lot, and that actually ties into like one of my criticisms about this series. That would have been way more of an actual complaint if this was not season 1. This was just the series. Is this beginning was very fucking dense. There was a lot of bits. In fact, I've got a paper right here.
It's only one side.
It's only one side, but there's just like summaries of things, of like key bits that I completely forgot about. Like, I forgot Opal lost her magic in episode 2 and didn't get it back till episode 4. I forgot that was that long of a period of time. I forgot all about...
I only remember that because I remember Amy just being like, well, fuck, what can I do? Because no magic.
That's fair. Yeah, that is fair. There was also, like, things that I forgot about was the Spider Queen tempting Dorian multiple times. It wasn't just one time, it was multiple times. But to me, it blended together. Episode 5, I think, was the most dense one, because that's the one that had, like... them it was after they had the gem of Byrodin, which was the festival, which we'll talk about that. I fucking love that. That was a lot of fun.
I have a thing about that from the wrap up,
and we'll talk about that as well. We'll get to that in a moment. But there was some moments that were really like packed with information. There are some people decrying that, like, oh man, this story made no sense. The story was going nowhere. But now that and I was admittedly a little concerned about that as well. That is out the window because this is season 1.
I think part of it is just because we just came off of 2 big campaigns. Everyone's got this expectation of, it's going to be just as grandiose or whatever. And it's like, guys, it's only 8 episodes.
In my thing...
There's a lot you got to fit in. And we're going back to Taldore, which
That's true.
That's a whole campaign before.
Yeah.
So, like, either half of the people watching have no idea what Taldore is or have never seen Campaign 1, or they have seen Campaign 1, but it's been a hot minute.
That's that. And I mean, we were going through rewatching Campaign 1 when
lockdowns happened.
When global chicken paninis first hit. And I wish that was what actually happened. I wish it was just...
It's either that or the
guys,
panorama.
The panorama, that's a good one too. But it was one of those things where I was just sitting there wishing, hey, you know what? It would have been pretty fucking great if it's like, hey, take some fucking panunus, my dude. It's
panunus?
Yeah, some great old panunus, my dude. It'd be amazing. But
this is the worst panini ever.
It's the worst. It's like from a shit restaurant that you don't like.
They don't even have like a proper panini press.
No, they don't. They just like... They
just
like
flatten it with a spatula.
They flatten it with a spatula. No, even worse. They heat up one pan and they have it on another pan and they just squish it with 2 pans.
Oh,
like it's not, and not even the fun being squished by 2 pans. Like
panini.
Pan panini. Yes, exactly. But no. What was I even on about? Oh, we were talking about that. I was in the camp of It's Been a Hot Minute, right?
It's been 1
Yeah, right. But no, it was one of those things where like my complaint until the end, realizing that there was more after this, was this is too much and too little information. But I also understand the I don't want to say conundrum, but I understand that like they don't want to lead on that, hey, this is one thing in a bunch of things, because what if the series bombed? It didn't. It's got a lot of fans, a lot of fan art. We're 2 fans. Spoiler alert, we legitimately like the series, and I want to kind of get the criticisms out of the way first so we could just gush about it for like 20 minutes. But I did think that there were some points, like episodes 4 at points and 5 especially, were really dense and like dragged on a little bit, which is ironic.
I feel like between the 2 though, 4 had the least bit of like dragging.
Episode 5, I would say between those 2, episode 5
because
was definitely,
like the second half of 4 was the pageant.
Yeah, was the Gemma Byroden, which was great.
But even then, like, I'm looking at your notes and I'm just sitting here like, that was still like, it didn't feel like that was dragging just from what was in that episode.
Yeah, and it's like
5, it was more like, hey, we're sitting in this jungle for a very long time.
Yeah.
We're having a campfire essentially.
Yeah.
This is us catching up on like, who are you? Why are you here? Blah blah
Why
blah.
Are you here?
And then hey, Spider Queen. Foreshadowing, maybe?
Right. And then which one? Was it episode? I got it on my notes right here. Episode 4 was when they met. Is it Fira? Is that how you pronounce it? Fira-rai, right. I want to make sure I'm pronouncing it correctly. But like, there's a lot to squeeze in these 8 episodes. But like, that's literally was the end of my critiques and criticisms, was that there was some episodes that like there was a lot squeezed in to a compact amount of time, and some people would sit there and say that like, 3.5 to 4.5 hours is not a compact amount of time. But when you're talking about actual play Dungeons and Dragons, we can attest to it because of the fact that you and I are a part of an actual play series, The Homebrewers, which go check out The Homebrewers. Links will be in the description and a little card right there. Listen, I got a shameless plug for a moment. Anyway, but no, the fact that we're a part of...
It's only what our channel has been for like a year.
Close to a year. Listen, at least since October of last year, which was, damn near close to a year. But, it was one of those things that, it was, that I was like, we understand that like 3.5 to 4.5 hours is a lot of time, but also depending on what's going on in each episode is not enough. Not a lot of time. It just depends. Like,
it's this weird, like, I don't know. Would that be a Schrodinger comparison? It either is or isn't a lot of time.
Yeah, it's Schrodinger-esque, I would definitely say. It's Schrodinger's D&D.
Yeah, there you go.
Schrodinger's Mister, since we're talking about EXU. Anyway, but because we were talking about time and stuff like that, there were some places like fucking Polygon that I swear has a bipolar relationship with Critical Role. They're like, they give like Critical Role gives some exclusive stories, like the breaking news of like the game coming out, like the card game Ukatoa, that was like that broke Ukatoa. That they broke that first, right?
They were also...
I should say broke it first, but like they've gotten some like...
Yeah.
It comes out on Polygon and then it's revealed by other news sites.
I will say, I think it was Polygon that I saw.
Yeah.
But when the news about Brian popped up...
Right.
About how he was leaving...
Right.
Polygon had a very clickbaity title.
Yeah.
It was like, one
yeah.
of the cast of Critical Role is leaving. And which everyone's like sitting there thinking, oh fuck, who at the table is leaving? It's not even anyone at the table. It's Brian.
That's not to diminish Brian Foster's importance, but it's
he's not a main player at the table. He's not main
player at the table of Critical Role.
He is extra content.
He's done, like they did Yeehaw Game Ranch, he did on Deadwood, he did Between the Sheets, Talks Machina, like subsequent content, additional content, but he wasn't
a player at the main table.
Yeah, he wasn't a player at the main table, you know?
And it was such a clickbaity thing.
It was, yeah.
If anyone didn't see Brian's thing, they could just stumble across that and be like, which of the parties leaving?
Like, who's leaving? Yeah. Which there were already people wondering if someone was leaving Critical Role when EXU started.
Yeah.
Because they were sitting there like, oh, okay, well, they're doing this new miniseries. What are they going to do?
And it turns out, no, some people were going on vacation and shit.
It gave people a break.
They're all vaccinated. They fucking earned a break.
Yeah, exactly. But it was one of those things where, like, for me, like what I was also reading, like to tie what I was bringing Polygon into, they had one of their complaints was there are still episodes that are too long, and even though they said that this was a series that you could just jump into at the onset, you still need to know a lot about Campaign 1, which I'm going to say is a good thing. A very good thing, and let's use this as a transition into all the stuff that we gushed about and like. Because like I said, the only criticism I had was some of the episodes were pretty dense with information. But I'm glad that there's more.
I would almost say you don't necessarily need to watch Campaign 1.
What I was going to say was Campaign 1 is a nice extra information, but you do not need to have watched Campaign 1 to understand EXU, which EXU takes place in Tal'Dorei, where Campaign 1 took place.
The only reason you would need to watch Campaign 1 is just to get the little references.
And understand.
And even then, like, they're not solely dependent on you having seen it. It's more just like, oh, hey, you saw Campaign 1, you know exactly who that is. You know exactly where this is.
You know who Keyleth of the Arashari is. You know who
Gilmore is.
You know who Sean Gilmore is. Which, can I start gushing about stuff? Abria as a whole, Abria is incredible. She is a fabulous DM.
I need to watch Dimension 20.
I've seen clips of Dimension 20 this season of Dimension 20 that she's been running as well, and God's bless Abria. I love it's Abria Iyengar. That's it. Iyengar is I made sure not to say her name because I don't want to fuck up. Abria Iyengar is a gem, and I fucking love her, and she is a wonderful and unique and different storyteller, and I love that about her. I love that she's not Matt but slightly different. She is her own storytelling. One of the things that I love the most that some people complained about, but as me being a DM, which at the time of recording this, I ran the first session of my very first campaign, was Rule of Cool. I love Rule of Cool, the way that she does Rule of Cool. She's like, well, these are the rules. I will still adhere to them to a point. But if you come to me with something really fucking cool, fucking Rule of Cool, my guy, let's go. I loved the way that I loved the way she ran the game. And I love the way...
that was something I believe Ashley was gushing about in the wrap-up. She's just like, I love how you kind of, like, leaned into that character when you were describing like fighting or like the how do you want to do this moment.
Yeah, it was cool. Which I am also going to say, as of the time of this recording as well, you watched the wrap up live. It aired last night. You watched the wrap up live,
which is more. It wasn't like revolutionary stuff or anything like Campaign 2 wrap up was. It was more just like everybody gushing and vibing.
Right. Yeah.
Kind of like what we're doing.
Yeah, but like. You've seen it, I have not. So you got like little key points of information, which we'll get into little things as well. But Abria was fantastic as a DM. I loved her characterization of all of the NPCs and the villains and the people that they're fighting and stuff like that. And I love her. That's it. That's the tweet. I love Abria Iyengar. She's a fantastic.
Abria Summer.
Wait, what?
Abria Summer. It's like the Critical Roles.
Oh, yeah.
Critical Role memes, like
right.
Bria Summer.
Yeah, yo, hell yeah, my dude. And you know what? A little thing that I loved as well is when like someone said something relatable. I love it. She's like, yo, vibes. I dig it. You get inspiration. Yo, vibes. Yo, that's cool. I love that.
Tight. Okay.
Tight. Vibes. I love it. And I'm like, she's saying what we're all thinking, and I love it so much. Matt as a player. I was so happy to have Matt as a player, but at the same time, he has that DM curse.
He said he took a page out of Travis's book of just playing something he's not normally
playing.
Because he's like, I'm more like the smart kind of wizard, or like the support characters. Like,
right.
I have this information for you. This is where you need to go.
Right.
But just the fact that he got to play kind of a lower intelligence,
a fucking idiot.
Yeah,
I love it. I love Matt's like energy.
He had so much fun with it.
Even in like he rolled with like, and it's another thing that I love, which I do both as a player and now I'm seeing as a DM, is if I get a low roll, I fucking go with it. No pun intended, and you're gonna love it. I roll with it. Listen, yeah.
I mean, you gotta.
Dariax is incredible. Robbie fucking Damon is my all-time favorite, and I love him so much. And I'm so glad he is in this. And it explains why a few months before EXU came out, he made a post about dice and dice tray, and he had to delete it immediately because they're like.
I had randomly seen it on Twitter. He had a photo of a dice tray with some dice, and I was just like, "Wait a minute, are you going to be on Critical Role? Is this a foreshadowing thing?"
Yeah,
and then the post was gone.
Deleted. And you're like, "Wait!"
No.
You would come to me and you're like, "Robbie deleted the post. I don't know what's going on. He might be in Critical Role."
For like a split second, I thought I hallucinated it.
Right?
I was just like, "Wait, it's gone." There's no way. I was just about to screenshot it.
A theory I personally had, and I'm not going to say that everyone had this theory. This is my own personal theory. I thought he was going to be guesting at the end of Campaign 2, but then they announced Exandria Unlimited, and I'm like, yo, that's Robbie! That's amazing.
Well, that's, speaking of Campaign 2, Matt made the comment of Amy was actually supposed to be a guest in Campaign 2.
He
didn't say specifically when. But, like, she was supposed to be part of Campaign 2.
I was not familiar with Abria or Amy at all. I was not familiar with Abria's work at all. I was not familiar with Amy Carrero. Amy Carrero. I want to say Cabero, not Carrero, because it's just there's a lot of
it's so close to like Cabello.
There's a lot of similar sounding Hispanic-esque names that all start with like CA.
And I'm just like,
Amy Carrero. She was awesome. I loved her. I loved Opal. Opal was literally, I called her in the first episode White Claw wasted the character, because I was like, Opal is the one that has had two White Claws.
She's white girl wasted.
Two White Claws, and she's lit, my dude. But her energy, that kind of chaos was so good. I loved all the characters, but if I had to pull a favorite, of course, I'm Bard Boy at heart. Music is important. Dorian was amazing. Yes.
Speaking of those two, because the question was asked in the wrap-up, how much money did you spend on dice? And what are some dice stories?
Oh, boy.
Amy, I think, said she spent about like $200 on a set of like really sharp like metal dice, I believe.
Hell yeah.
And Robbie was looking kind of here and there and everywhere for dice, and he eventually stumbled on Etsy, and he found, like, I want to say dice with human bone, like either in the dice or like just supposed to be like weathered to look like human bone, and he's just like, is this gonna be the moment where I have my first set of human body parts in a dice?
Holy shit!
He didn't get the set, but he's like, if I come back,
almost
maybe.
Did. Maybe. Yeah.
Which, apparently, Liam had asked the question, there's two, like, ends of the spectrum when it comes to dice collecting.
Right.
Or how you roll the dice. Are you more like a Liam, who's like, the dice are just going to tell a story, whatever. Or are you like Laura, where you believe that the dice are, like, They have their own little mystical power, and Amy specifically says she started off with Laura, and then it went to Liam just because the dice were just like, okay, we're gonna constantly roll 13.
That was so funny that the last episode specifically, she's like, is there any other fucking number than 13?
There is 14.
Yeah, fucking Christ, that was so good. If people want to know, if they don't watch the Homebrewers, what you and I are, you are very much a Laura. You have your fucking dice jail, and I am a Liam. The dice tell stories, good, bad, or indifferent, and you have to fucking roll with it.
Well, since we're engaged, you're more Travis than Liam.
That's true. That is true. Yeah, you know what? To be fair, I'm saying in regards to like with that analogy. But if we're gonna pull someone, I literally am the Travis of any group we're in, because I literally look at you, the Laura of any group that we are in, and go, you're superstitious. You need to chill the fuck out, my dude. And you're just like, no, but like, ugh.
I'm like, I'm paranoid about my dice. Which one do I grab to roll?
Just roll, and if that doesn't do good, it was meant to not be a good roll, my dude. Damn.
Tell that to my attack rolls.
You learned that with your character in our campaign last weekend, and we've seen it with Amaryllis.
That's my curse.
Okay. It's okay,
I'm just going to do the office stare. That is my curse.
Amazing.
Attack rolls.
I get being frustrated about it.
This is why I'm support.
Hell yeah. But your support rolls, fucking clutch, my dude. I fucking love your support rolls. But anyway, so Matt as a player, as instead of a DM, fantastic. I love Matt as a player. Amy and Robbie are so good. I always love Liam and Ashley. I loved Liam playing a happier character.
He said he'd always wanted to play a halfling.
Really?
Like, that was a dream for him to play a halfling character. So the fact that he got to do it, he was so happy.
That's so good. And like I said, usually, what do you think of when you think of Liam O'Brien's character? Tragic Shakespearean sad boys. That's what I think of. But to see him who
it doesn't help when
plays
he has the Shakespeare ad in Twitch.
Right. But the thing though is like to see him playing a happier character, and Kit's not in this episode, but he watched it with us. And then when he moved out here, he watched the last couple episodes with us and whatnot. Or last few episodes, I should say, if I could say words correctly. But he had made the mention of just like, he loved seeing Liam, and he loves Liam's characters and the sad boy characters stuff, because let's be real, Kit and I are a couple sad boys. Yeah, Kit and I are a couple sad boys. But like to see him, who usually plays sadder characters, play a relatively happier character with parents that are alive, right? And I'm like, yo, like it sounded like both parents alive, at least from the implication. At least he mentioned his mom, right? Which I think the first character on screen he's played with a mother that was still alive, which was really interesting, and I loved it. But like, I also felt that it was like, oh, it was so good. I loved Orm of the Ashari. I had to stop and be like, Ashari. Well, because the cool little connection with Orm. I go back and forth on the pronunciations.
Honestly,
I say Orm and Orm.
It's probably regional. Tiefling, Orin.
Brad is wrong on Tiefling. That's why I was so glad in the Homebrewers he had Tieflin, the Tiefling. It's like, yeah.
And then he fucked up his own joke.
Yeah, no. Well, the great is that he went...
Tieflin the Tiefling. Damn it!
So good. But the first time he said it, I was like, oh yeah, Tieflin the Tiefling, and Brad immediately going, yeah, my dad had a poor sense of humor, basically making fun of himself, and he had a good spirits, and it was so good. But no, I loved Orm so much. Orm was great. Fern, though, can we talk about Quiet Chaos Fern? I love her. So I loved all of these characters, like, and I've never had like.
She just plays by her own rules.
She does. It's so good. And actually,
that's what a fawn does.
There was a comment on, I think, because episode 6 was the one that we watched separately. That we did not. Episode 6 was, I think, the only one that we did not watch live. If there was episode 3 was also another one we didn't watch live, but we all watched it together that following Monday. We had a lot going on before episode 7, so we all kind of separately took in episode 6. I say that because I don't think you actually ever watched episode 6, right?
I did after a while.
Oh, you did finally watch it, but like you didn't watch it before episode 7.
I was a little behind.
You were a little behind, but you watched episode 7. You kind of got the important bits from like recap and us telling you and stuff like that, but then you did go back and watch episode 6. Okay, I didn't remember if you had or not, but What was I on about? I just lost what I was on about.
We were watching separately.
We were watching separately. Oh yeah, there was a comment somebody had made that it was someone had made a comment about, I hope Ashley has a similar-esque character for campaign 3 because it was so much fun to watch her play this character. And I agree. I loved Fern. She was fantastic. And then nice little nod to Anjali coming in as Fururai.
Well, wait, we can't move on from Fern without mentioning Mr.
Mr. was great too.
Little Mr.
And in Abria playing Mr. the way that she did was so much fun to watch as well.
She got to be the Matt where she got to make monkey
animal noises. Yeah, it was so good. It was amazing.
Throwing like flaming poops.
Flaming shit. Hell yeah. Hey, got him. Yes, hell yeah. Love that shit. But no, that's a pun. I hate myself. Anyway, gotta give a little love to Anjali, who was Fururai. I was familiar with her because a little bit of a yikes here, played Overwatch, and it's only yikes because of the recent Blizzard stuff.
I was familiar with her with Undeadwood.
With Undeadwood as well. I was going to also say Undeadwood. She was fantastic in Undeadwood as well. But, like, dude. Fururai was so, like mom friend-esque, you know what I mean? And I love that. It was so funny
because on the wrap-up, she said that...
But she was on the wrap-up, too, for people who don't know. I did see the image of, like, she was in the wrap-up.
Yeah, she got brought in after, I think, a few minutes.
Nice.
But, she was, like... Because they had pre-recorded the episodes, so that whenever they aired, they weren't live.
Right.
And so she told Marisha about how, like... I wanted to tell them, no, you can't do that. That's not good. Something bad's going to happen. And Marisha's just like, you can't. It's not live.
It's not live.
She's like, I got to text them and let them know. It's already done.
It's so good. I love that shit so much.
I was like, I'm glad to know that she's having the same conundrum.
I know. That all of us critters have as well.
We want to just type it up in the stream, but this is all pre-recorded.
All pre-recorded. It was what coming back after initial shutdown for pandemic campaign 2 was as well, which a little side note, we'll probably talk about it on the podcast at some point next month. We're doing the podcast monthly for now until we start to make it more frequently again, but there was a little news about campaign 3 that they are building a new set, and I'm so excited to see what the campaign 3 set looks like, which, I mean, it makes sense. Campaign 2 had a new set, and then they had to build another set in the middle of campaign 2 because of,
EXU.
Yeah, well, no, they had to rebuild the set two-thirds of the way through campaign 2 because pandemic. They had to redo set completely because they had to social distance and keep everything separate and stuff like that. And then I'm so excited. And then they had the newer set, like the updated looking version of that set for EXU, and then they'll have the one for campaign 3. Everyone was fantastic. I loved so much of this. And I think we can gush for hours and hours, but to keep it concise and not have us sitting here for a long period of time, to wrap it up, there are 2 questions that I've got. Number 1, what were a couple of your favorite moments, limited to 2 or 3? What were 2 or 3 of your favorite moments? And then on top of that, what is the one lingering thread at the end of season 1 you were most excited for follow-up seasons?
Do you want to go first?
I will go first. Okay. The 2 or 3 things that I loved, we mentioned it earlier. I loved the pageant episode. That was so fucking funny.
I felt perceived.
I'm about to say, you and Kit, because Kit being from North Carolina and then living...
Me from the Midwest.
You from the Midwest, and Kit also living in Atlanta for 7 or 8 years that he lived there. Yeah. You two both felt perceived and also attacked at the same time.
A little bit.
And I think... Robbie especially really was vibing on that because him also being from St. Louis, from the Midwest, he was just like, no.
Chesterfield.
He's from Chesterfield. Okay, yeah. So it's just like, oh yeah, you know what? No, y'all get it. Abria knew exactly what she was in.
I love his little Freudian slip though.
Oh, which was that?
When it was like, when you're, what gem would you be? Opal or diamond because it's hard like me. Nope.
Yeah. Kit and I looked at each other like, correct. That is correct. I loved that so much.
Robbie, damn it.
I loved that because Fira and Orem weren't in the pageant, that they got to play NPCs, which I loved. Talking about how I loved how Abria DM'd this. The fact that like she's like, okay, but this is a fun thing, and I don't want these two to not be included. Here, you be a couple NPCs and have fun with that. Was there a little bit from the wrap up about that?
Anjali admitted that she had no idea how to pronounce the name of the character that she was.
Really?
So it was spelled. I forget how she explained it, but it was spelled like a certain way on the card.
Right.
And she just ended up saying Lyle. Or Lyle, or whatever the character's name was.
Yeah.
And apparently that wasn't actually what it was.
Oh, no.
Because then when Abria said it, like, repeated it back to her, Anjali had the thought of, that's not how you pronounce this. But that's her name now.
That's her name now. Sometimes you just gotta roll with that. It's so good. I just loved seeing Gil again. I love seeing Gil and Abria's take on Gil.
Matt said that was one of his favorite parts of Abria DMing was her take on Gil. And apparently that was like the most nerve-wracking thing for her.
Well, because Gil is such a beloved character, right?
Abria also said that's her favorite NPC of Campaign 1.
So she's just like extra level to
she's just like, oh fuck, don't fuck this
up. Don't fuck it up.
The fans are going to be watching. This is your favorite NPC.
It would be... If we're going to stay with Critical Role, it would be if I got to do something related to Campaign 2 and I had to do something with Ford. Because Ford, at the end of Campaign 2, Ford ended up being my all-time favorite. I love that boy so much. And it started off at, like, Caleb and Molly,
or
right?
like me doing something for Jester.
Or you doing something for Jester,
like,
right? Or if we go Campaign 1, me doing something for Percy and Grog and Vax. And you doing something for your girl Vex. Listen, but like listen, Vex is very important. We totally didn't get engaged when we were Perxalia. Listen, totally didn't, not in the least.
We're totally not planning the wedding around that.
Totally not planning. Well, it's not Critical Role themed, but it's like that.
We may as well
aesthetic.
be cosplaying those two.
Might as well. I'm not, but I'm like taking the color theming. That's why I'm glad I've got the purples for the wedding.
That's why I'm saying we may as well be because we have the colors.
Yeah. But like it's one of those things where just like it would just kind of be like that, but. Abria did so good with Gil and seeing him happy. He's married. I want to meet his husband so much. So badly. I want to meet Gil's husband. Oh, I'm so happy that like he's got that. He's got that charm, and Abria tied into something that is something that I'm not going to say people have forgotten per se, but Gil, even in Campaign 1, he wasn't thinner. He's a thick boy. He's built. He's not built per se, but like he's charming.
I mean, he's a merchant. He's got to transport like wares and
That's
stuff.
True.
Magic
he's like
can only
he's
take
thick
you so
boy.
far.
He's a thick boy, and the fact that Abria doubled down was like he's thicker boy, and I'm like fuck yes he is, and
also,
I love
he's
that.
older,
and he's an older man too. I just love
Silver
seeing,
Fox.
He was. Kit and I were having Bert McCrisey's polar. That's not what I meant.
Plural.
Editing Greg, keep that in plural because Greg is an idiot. Greg, am an idiot. Anyway.
Put that with text too. Greg is an idiot.
Greg is an idiot, yes. But I loved her take on Gil so much. And I've had to choose a third thing that I loved. It wasn't like one moment, but the way that Amy really did the sibling connection was not only so relatable, but as myself, who is not to go into crazy detail because it's my personal life and nobody needs to know about my personal life.
You are a sibling.
I am a sibling. I'm the older sibling. Of course, it was twins for Opal and Ted.
Yeah, but it's still one's older,
right?
One's younger.
But it's one of those things where just like I have been someone who has been in a sibling relationship where there was a massive divide at one point, and they did that so fucking well, and it pulled at my heartstrings a little bit and got me emotional, and the old tear ducts to flowing a little bit, and it was like really well done. And the way that they ended it with like. Ted is free of that influence, but is still there, and knowing that like
she's safe though.
She's safe, and like I that hit home. That as the kids say, that shit hit different, my dude. No, it was they did that so well, and being an older sibling and understanding like familial relationships are complex and sometimes not pretty, and you have petty arguments and also really important and serious arguments, but it still is so, they did that so well, and that's something for me personally that I really loved that they tackled super fucking well. I love that shit.
See, like, my thing is, like, I don't even have that divide per se, but I am the older sibling to my half-sister.
You can at least relate to,
so
like,
I'm just
the petty
there, like,
arguments, because siblings always have petty arguments.
Especially the younger ones.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Megan, I love you. Megan's my sister, and she's been in videos before. But if you ever watch this, I do love you, but we have had petty arguments at times. Everyone has with their siblings, though, but I still fucking love her to death.
I think part of what made it emotional for me on my end was just the fact that I'm so far away from my family.
That is true.
That I'm just like, oh, fuck.
Your family's still
I can't hug my sister.
You're in California and your family's still in Missouri, so like it's an extra
I can't hug my
level.
sister right now, and it's just like that sucks.
Yeah, I totally understand.
I live vicariously through Opal in this moment.
The thing that I am most excited for, lingering thread, is I want more of the nameless ones. I love Posca so much as a villain. She is the kind of villain as like she. Not that she is, but it's a similar idea of why I loved the Briarwoods, in this sense of like they're charming but very fucking evil, and I love those kinds of light sass but also very serious and need to be taken seriously villains. I love that shit, and I cannot wait for that thread to be brought back in tenfold, especially with the way that they deceived her and took the crown from her. And thank fuck they used the box that Gil gave them to transport the crown, to transport a note of, they know that we saw you, please be safe. And I'm all, thank you for keeping my man safe. Anyway, 2 or 3 things that you loved and something that you're most excited about, so we can go ahead and wrap this up.
Things that I liked. I love Dariax's roles. They were fucking horrible, and I fucking love it.
And Matt, I mentioned it earlier, but Matt...
He loved it.
Loved it and just went with it. And, oh, man. I get also being frustrated. I've also been there, but I've also in recent time, I've been like, no, you gotta roll with it. You gotta deal with it. That's what you rolled. You gotta play into it. Good, bad, or indifferent.
I love the ash hole.
The ash hole!
That entire bit... made me laugh so hard.
We were crying. That was episode 2 with the ash hole. And whenever they would mention it in future following episodes, it was so amazing.
Even just like in that one episode, they just kept upping the ante, and Bria's just like, I hate all of you.
I have been in both positions with the ash hole. Hey, got him. No, it was one of those. Hey, I didn't get the dab. Clearly, there we go. Anyway, it was because it looked like I just kind of did a weird hand thing and leaned in, but no, it was great. I've been on both sides of that equation. I've been someone having to put up with a shitty joke. All the while, I've been the one to perpetuate said shitty joke, and I loved that. So that was such a great moment. And you got like one or two more. I say because you were just kind of like general things. So like one or two more, 5 more. I cannot decide. No, I'll give you 1 or 2 more things that you enjoyed.
Just off the top of my head, controversial opinion. I liked the scene with Dorian's alignment change.
That is controversial. That is controversial in this household.
Because the thing is, like, in Campaign 1, alignment change wasn't really made into this big thing. And even though Dorian had good intentions, he knowingly negotiated with an evil god. Which is why, because he originally was apparently supposed to be chaotic good.
I love my
which is how Robbie pitched it. Which apparently his build changed in between the playtest and the actual first session.
Yeah.
But no, like, I like how Abria did it.
I have had, and I'm glad that we weren't doing, like, weekly breakdowns of episodes, because I had a way more visceral dislike of that moment when it happened. But as I'm, like, looking at the season as a whole, and also being one step removed from that initial emotion of, like, I was the one that was saying, wait, based off of one choice, that's the thing that is now all of a sudden alignment change. But I also have to take into consideration now that, number 1, they had some playtest stuff, and number 2, And again, talk about things being so dense with information. Now that I'm looking at this and I see Spider-Queen tempted Dorian multiple times and then he took the deal. Yes, that makes a lot more sense being removed. Looking at it in the big picture, it's not as controversial to me. To me, it was still controversial with certain individuals.
I equivalent it to kind of like Faust. He knowingly made a deal with the devil for knowledge.
Right.
It may have been for good.
Right.
But he willingly negotiated with something he knew was pure evil.
It's literally the idea of the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Exactly.
And it makes sense.
And Robbie said his whole thing with Dorian is it's kind of a take on the anime trope of I will do anything for my friends.
Right.
But he specifically says, I'll do anything for my friends, including destroying the world for them.
Right. Yeah, that is fair, and they really played into that.
Which made that alignment change so much better.
Yeah, I get it now. That's why I said in the moment I was like, what the fuck is that? Why did you get an alignment change? But now that we're removed and it's a few weeks removed from that, no, it was a good thing. Controversial, yes. Effective, yes. A good choice, abso-fucking-lutely it was.
Also, we've got to remember, Vex had a lot of alignment shifts.
Dude, she had like 5 or fucking 6, dude. Like, she would do so many, and like, we're gonna get off on a tangent.
She's my girl, I love her, but she's got some alignment shifts.
She's got a lot of alignment shifts. But no, it makes a lot of sense.
She pickpocket things.
She did, yeah, and made some choices. Trademark. Okay, the one thread that you are most excited for to see come up again.
I was just gonna say real quick, not related to the actual game itself, but like one of my other favorite things is Robbie tweeting, I will never forgive myself for not realizing that Gil was flirting with me.
I know! It's just like, all of us were like, yo, Gil's
it's
flirting
like, dude,
with
are
you.
you blind?
Glorious Gilmore of Gilmore's Glorious Goods is hitting on you.
He's married, yes, but he's still charming you.
He still is throwing on the charm and
you are not noticing.
You are not noticing in the least.
But
that was great. Also, another quick thing, and we'll get to your answer of what you're most excited for, about outside of the game, Robbie retweeting every last bit of fan art, it felt like, on Twitter.
I know, he's like, how do you critters not do this?
It's so good. And then, like, apparently there was a thing... We'll talk about that another time, but there was a thing that he's like, there was a thing in the pregame. I'm not saying that you guys should draw it, but there was a thing of Orm on a T-Rex. I'm not saying you need to do it or I need it commissioned, but hey, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And I love his interaction with the community. It's been so good. And the community's been so...
He's been as big of a critter as everyone else, and it's been so good.
And the community, for all intents and purposes, has been really kind to all of the new faces for Exandria Unlimited. And it was... I mean, the community is also going to have its, like, bad apples and fucking pieces of garbage.
The community's probably also aware of them from other things, so that also helps.
But as a whole, the community in general was way more accepting than because I was going to be like, oh, I'm expecting people to not like, because I mean, it wouldn't be as bad as like something like, say, Achievement Hunter, where like, but it was still to be like the, hey, new face, I don't like this person, right?
Yeah.
But like, I was expecting a lot more of that, but they didn't, and they were in general a lot more accepting and shit like that. It was wonderful. The thing that you were most excited for upcoming season.
I mean, you already said Posca.
I mean, you can also double down on that. If that's the thing you're most excited for, is that the thing you're most excited for?
I hope we see Gil again.
Oh, and if we're going back to Posca, we're abso-fucking-lutely gonna see Gil again. I would love to see Gil. Little quick thing.
I didn't know I missed Gil that much.
I know, and I already fucking missed Gil. Another person that I hope that we do get to see because she was name dropped, I would love to see Kiki.
I know.
I would love to see Keyleth because Orm is of the Arashari, and Keyleth was from the Arashari as well, and is the voice of the Tempest, the leader of the Ashari, specifically the Arashari. Yeah.
I would also hope we get a cameo for Vex and Percy because they did mention Residuum and Whitestone.
They mentioned Residuum, Whitestone, and it was confirmed in the Campaign 2 wrap-up that Lady Vexalia de Rolo is one of the members of the Tal'Dorei Council. She's the treasurer. Of course she is.
Also, they mentioned in the wrap-up, speaking of Vex, they mentioned in the wrap-up that apparently Byroden must have something to do with twins. Because the twins are from there, and then Opal and Ted are from there. And
that is the thing.
They have a headcanon now that Vex and Vax absolutely had to take part in the pageant at one point.
Yes!
Yes! They were imagining Vax in the back going, this is bullshit.
Twitter, I need Vax in a dress. Please.
No. They were
no. I'm saying for my own standards, I need a reluctant Vax in a dress reluctantly helping his sister with the pageant. That's what I need. Thanks, Twitter. Anyway, that is amazing. I completely I remembered but also forgot at the same time, if that makes sense.
Well, it helped remind me because they're like, they have a statue in Byroden of two important people from Byroden, and they're the twins, and I'm like,
twins.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Two other twins of Byroden. Amazing. But yes, that's it. We're wrapping this up right now. Hey, I'm already looking at the time, and I already hate myself for going past 30 minutes. But hey, we're below an hour. We're not 2.5 hours like we did for The Last of Us 2 spoiler cast. Anyway, thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you guys for checking us out. If this is your first time checking out the channel, go check out some other videos. And if you deem us worthy, hit that subscribe button and fucking slam the shit out of that notification bell and have check out our other dumb content. We already mentioned Homebrewers. You can check that out. We have our podcast where we have talked about multiple things Critical Role related and various other things and stuff like that. Check out our most recent one where Kit and I just kind of shot the shit and talked about a lot of things. And tune in next week for either something Final Fantasy XIV related if the package shows up before next week, which might be an unboxing of something really cool that I'm really excited for, or in some way, shape, or form, episode 29 of the Homebrewers. That episode is a train wreck for multiple reasons. We already had to edit some stuff down, but we also we lost Brad's audio, so we're trying to figure something out as to how to handle episode 29. I know it's a train wreck, but anyway, it's either going to be that or something related to Final Fantasy XIV. But thank you guys so much for joining us. We hope you guys enjoyed. If you liked EXU or you have opinions on Exandria Unlimited, leave them down below. Keep them civil. If you had criticisms, be civil, but talk about it as well. Let's have a chat and talk about things. And if you're excited for more Exandria Unlimited and or Campaign 3, go check that out as well. Do you have any final things to say before we wrap this up?
Here's to the Chuckle Fucks.
Here's to the Chuckle Fucks. And you know what? Time is a weird soup, everyone. That is the life needs things to live of Exandria Unlimited. So Season 1. So thank you guys so much. We love you all. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And we will catch you guys next time. Bye.